Welcome to Sell Like You, the ultimate sales podcast that will teach you how to make sales your superpower, transform your mindset, and in doing so, explode your sales beyond your wildest dreams. I'm Harriet Meller, and over the last 17 years, I've helped hundreds of top companies around the world, including my own, make more money and qualify more leads using simple strategies that work. In this podcast, you'll learn how I generated over 10 million in annual sales, along with the sales techniques, processes, and tools that will work for you to generate more dream-aligned clients and scale your business beyond what you thought was possible. If you're sick of the boring, outdated, and pushy sales tactics of the past, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Emails are a lazy salesperson ticking the box for business development. So don't hate me when I say that, because emails are lazy. Emails certainly play a part, but if all you're doing is emailing and it's not working, because I'm pretty sure it isn't if that's all you're doing, then be mindful that there is more to business development than sending an email. Okay, you should be aiming for utilizing a collaborative effect of, or a collaborative outreach of communication. And so emails can absolutely play a part, and we utilize emails in our outreach and what we build for our customers as well. And for me, I would usually say that we should be aiming for 10 to 20% return on cold outreach. I'd say that's pretty much good enough for sending that first outreach, especially if it's cold. It's different if you've got an email database, and marketers will be screaming at me saying that's not a good enough open rate. But our email database, we've got about a 50 to 60% open rate, and I'm pretty happy with that. But when it comes to cold outreach, we are often working with a lot of businesses that know who we are, people that have engaged with us previously or within our industry. And so our return will then be higher. But if I'm starting out there, then I would say if I'm starting out, it's the first time I'm using this outreach methodology, then absolutely focus or aim for that 10 to 20% return. And therefore, if you send out 100 emails, I would expect to get 10 to 20% saying yes or no, or some variety. Now, when it comes back to information in email, for me, the success usually comes with if we've nailed the message, if we've nailed the industry niche specific, because what I teach is very specific around what we're offering when we're outreaching. But when it comes to then that right place, right time moment, that's when we're like, yes, like we've nailed it. But all it was right place, right time, with right message, with right use cases, with right industry, or maybe they know us, or have come across us, or maybe you're using LinkedIn and you've now got some warm leads as well. So there's a lot of things that play a part in email, but sending an email and then sending a second email and a third email and a fourth email and thinking you're going to get a different response is not very accurate. I speak to a lot of people about email, and it's really interesting, and I love it when, a lot of people will share with me, but I never reply to emails. I never answer cold calls. I'd never buy anything over the phone. I'd never reply to somebody on LinkedIn. And I appreciate that, but are you your ideal customer? Because I'm not mine. So, how would that, how can I make that decision? I can't. And we all know that email works, phone call works, LinkedIn works, in-person works, events work, mail works. It all works. But it's got to be for the right person. It's got to be with the right message. It's got to be with the right information. And so if you send an email, cool. But without a phone call and no reply, you pretty much don't exist. And so I talk about collaborative communication channels. This could be email first, it could be call second, it could be connect on LinkedIn and then try again on phone, email, maybe even a DM on LinkedIn. But picking up the phone is most salespeople's least favorite. Not everybody's, but a lot of. It's their least favorite. We're putting ourselves out. We're having to be vulnerable. We're having to be prepared for rejection verbally, because via email, it's just an email and I can delete it and it's fine. I've been told to F off in capital letters in an email once, and I've been outbound cold selling for over 15 years, in tech for 15 years. But I got asked yesterday what my first sales job was. And I was like, do you know what? I don't know what I'd class as my first sales job, because there's so many things I've done which are connected to sales. And that was back when I would have said over my dead body, I do sales. But I worked in retail. I worked at McDonald's. I worked in this little office behind a bank in this village. And we were selling books, and these books were to do with education books for like drugs and drink and smoking for kids in schools, around education about not doing them. And we had to get businesses to sponsor the books to go to the school of their choice. And I had the yellow pages and a ruler, and I crossed out as I went down the ruler of who I needed to speak to. I've done proper cold calling. And I mean, I don't even know how legitimate that was back then, but I definitely wasn't in the market for, trying to be aligned with something. I just wanted the money back then. So why I'm telling you that, because this is like, the phone call is everybody's least favorite opportunity or least favorite communication in general. I'm not saying everybody's, because I work with a lot of people that love the phone and we get on really well because I also love the phone. However, if you are not picking up the phone and you are sending an email and you are expecting a reply, then you are not being effective. You're not being an effective salesperson. You're being a lazy salesperson. Now, yes, I do truly believe in working smarter, not harder. I am okay with you being a lazy salesperson as long as you are utilizing different methods of communication. Okay. So picking up the phone certainly plays a huge part. It takes action. It gets you to bring something into life, into fruition. Okay. So when we are using email as an anchor point, it helps. It makes sense. It gives you I wouldn't necessarily say a sense of purpose, but it gives you something to reference, which isn't all you speaking and trying to get a message out and trying to connect with them really quickly. Okay, you've sent the email. We're using that email as a anchor point. And what I mean by anchor point is, hey, Sarah, Harriet from Your Sales Car. Hope you're well. I recently sent you an email. It would have come maybe around Tuesday afternoon, come from Harriet, with regards to insert thing. Now, I've said email, date, time with regards to thing. And I thought it may be easier to pick up the phone so that we can find a time suitable for us to chat. Now, what I'm doing is that I'm hoping she's now going to go away and look at, especially if she's at her laptop, look at for that email. She's going to search Harriet. She's going to find the email, and now we can have a conversation about the topic in the email. Now, often if they're driving, they may then say, "Oh, I'm actually not in front of my emails. What was the email about?" We can then highlight the specific element of that email. So what were you offering? What story were you using? How niche were you going? And what was the call to action? Because the anchor point for your phone call is the call to action. And so for me, it'll be around a meeting, a call, a coffee, an introduction, the opportunity to showcase something. And so in that realm, then they can then make a decision whether that's right for them right now. Now, usually they will then give me some other information. They may already have somebody. They may be looking at something else. And so at that point, it's asking more questions. Now, we talk about how to do that within the Tech Sales Accelerator. That is our program where we teach and enable people in tech to be able to have these great conversations, to utilize multiple different outreach methods and have the specific examples, templates, and guides that can be copy and pasted. And so we teach all of this in so much detail, but I believe this is a common challenge when it comes to, I've sent an email, I've got no reply. So how do we overcome that? And that's why I want to share this with you in this episode, is that we can go into so much detail, and I'm not going to go into that much detail today, but I want to give you some thoughts, some food for thought, so that you can go away and review how you're currently emailing, communicating, calling, utilizing LinkedIn, because there should be a multitude of steps. Now, as I've said, you're lazy if all you're doing is emailing. So how can you tack on a connection on LinkedIn? How can you tack on a message? How can you tack on a phone call? So if you've sent the email first, you've now got an anchor point. You've got a reason to call. If you get no answer, connect with them on LinkedIn. Still nothing. You might connect back, but then that's it. Can you send a second email? Can you add value? Can you try them again on the phone? Can you send them a message on LinkedIn in relation to adding value? It doesn't always have to be about the can we meet, can we find an opportunity together? But look, it's been great to connect with you. I look forward to learning a little bit more about you. Keep it fairly general. Then maybe a week goes by, still nothing on the other channels. Can you reach out to them again? Can you ask more questions? Can you offer more information? It doesn't always have to be about the meeting. I talk a lot about don't have sales as the number one goal of every conversation. Now, we specialize in long lead times. We specialize in high ticket service and product offerings. That does not happen overnight. If it does, great. You've obviously found someone with a problem that already knows you. You've warmed them up using your personal brand or your marketing. Great. Well done. Incredible work. But that will not be the common experience. It will not be every single call you make will be, yes, I'm in. Let me give you my money. Okay, because we're not offering something that can be made, where a decision can be made that quickly. So we need to have that nurture sequence. So I always talk about that 7 to 8 touch points, which sounds like a lot. When you know what you're doing, it doesn't feel like a lot, but we're able to then utilize that. We don't send that email. And I know so many people love sending this email at the end, which says, this is my last attempt. They never asked you to reach out to them. Don't tell them this is your last attempt, because it shouldn't be. Park it, add your activity, revisit it again. Try again, try again, try again, try again. Now, it's not always, hey, is now time? Hey, are we ready? Hey, you ready to buy? Hey, can I talk to you about this? It's add more value, invite them to an event, share an article, share a resource, share a podcast, share a video, share a use case. Ask questions, get to know them, because you never know when the time is going to be right for them if you've not yet spoken to them. If you do a really good job of that, they may just be watching everything come in. And then you go to an event and you're like, Sarah, how are you? Your sales co, I hope you're well. I've been sending you a few emails. I'm not sure if I've gone to your spam or if you've been just quietly enjoying them. We can have a conversation. It does not need to be, oh, you never replied to my emails. Oh, they obviously don't want to work with me because of that. They are being inundated with information left, right, and center within their business, external to their business. You need to stand out. And so by sending an email and not getting a reply is not tick, done, I tried. Okay, sending 2 emails is not tick, done, did it. Okay, we need more than that. So if you are sending emails, you better be picking up the phone, because if you're not, you will not be seeing as much success as you should be and could be by bringing it into a conversation. Whenever I explain this to our customers, we talk about email gets you seen. It gives you an opportunity to be in somebody's inbox, for them to see your name, to potentially see an industry or a hook or a connection point, or be right place, right time. Okay, you just never know what's going to come from that. And so by all means send that, but make sure you have other touch points, other opportunities to be able to communicate with them. And you can do that through so many different means, but we need to think outside the email box, think outside the inbox. Maybe that should be my tagline. Think outside the inbox. So I hope that's helped you. I hope it's giving you some food for thought around how you can bring this to the next level. If you are a manager or a leader, then consider sharing this with your team. Because if they think that email is good enough and that's the tick in the box, then we really need to be supporting them, enabling them to have better, stronger conversations. Because that's going to be the difference between I'm seeing success and I'm not. So I hope that's been helpful. You can find more resources, more support, more videos, audio, templates, guides, etc. Just go over to yoursalesco.com or find us on YouTube. And happy listening, happy selling. Have a wonderful, very successful week ahead. Thank you for tuning into the Sell Like You podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and be sure to subscribe to never miss another one. A huge thank you to Vitality House for hosting today's recording. And I look forward to being back into your ears soon.